What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we're here for episode for Smackdown for October 11, 2019, night one of the draft. This draft went exactly how the last draft went, which was in 2016. With Raw having 3 hours and SmackDown having 2 hours, Raw got 3 picks, SmackDown got 2 picks. The only big thing they did differently from last time that I can remember is that they had a draft pool for each show on .com a couple of days ago. I believe it was on Wednesday or Thursday. Tuesday or Wednesday, I should say. They put out a list of superstars who were eligible for Raw and eligible for SmackDown to be drafted on those nights. This was a mixture from superstars of Raw and SmackDown talent. So, leading off, and if you watch SmackDown, then this is going to sound familiar. Raw had, the SmackDown list started out with Becky Lynch, Roman Reigns, the OC, The Fiend Bray Wyatt, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Sasha Banks, Ricochet, Braun Strowman, and Bobby Lashley. If those all sound familiar, I just read you the first two rounds of the entire 2019 draft. Because if you watch the show, round 1 went Becky Lynch, Roman Reigns, the OC, The Fiend, and Drew McIntyre. Round 2 went Randy Orton, Sasha Banks, Ricochet, and Braun Strowman, and Bobby Lashley. Round 4 is where they changed it up a little bit, which was the final round where you had Alexa Bliss, Lacey Evans, the Viking Raiders, then Kevin Owens, the Revival, and the Street Profits all moving, and Lucha House Party all moving from SmackDown to Raw and so forth. Of course, that leaves Cesaro, Humberto Carrillo, Akira Tozawa, Sin Cara, Eric Young, EC3, Chad Gable, which they were disrespectful to call him changing his name, by the way, Heath Slater, Drew Gulak, the B-Team, and Tamina from tonight that are eligible to go to whichever brand they chose fit. So, SmackDown was a throwaway show outside of the main event, which saw, if you can tell right now, I didn't change the graphic at all, because if I would have, Charlotte Flair should be on here, but Charlotte Flair is no longer your SmackDown Live Women's Champion. If they follow suit with what they did tonight and we get the same thing tomorrow on Monday, here's how the first few rounds are going to go. Raw is getting Seth Rollins, SmackDown is getting Brock Lesnar, Charlotte Flair is coming to Raw, Titus O'Neil is going to SmackDown, Nakamura is going to Raw. That is going to be your first round. Round 2, we'll see Aleister Black on Raw. Then New Day will stick on SmackDown, which I find that hard to believe because Sparks wants a real sports feel, and the New Day are the furthest thing from that. Daniel Bryan to Raw, Bayley remaining on SmackDown, and Luke Harper going to Raw. Eric Rowan going to Raw on the 3rd round, The Miz going to SmackDown, which makes no sense because Miz TV is on SmackDown. on USA Network, and they really wouldn't want to have him promoting Miz TV on another brand. Ali going to Raw, King Corbin going to SmackDown, and Elias going to Raw. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode going to Raw, Samoa Joe going to SmackDown, Asuka and Kairi Sane, the women's tag team titles going to Raw. Rusev going to SmackDown, which would be absolutely fantastic because the Bobby Lashley stuff could end, and Cedric going to Raw. Ray staying on Raw, R-Truth going to Raw, Carmella going to SmackDown, splitting those two up, AOP to Raw, and whoa. Here's something I just realized. They broke the rules. I forgot. Heavy Machinery was added to the SmackDown brand tonight, and they're in the draft pool for Monday. So why are they already out there? So weird. So for the most part, I don't think it's going to be like that completely, but definitely the first round is going to be Seth Rollins to Raw, Brock Lesnar to SmackDown, Charlotte Flair to Raw, and then Titus O'Neil going to SmackDown. I don't know about that. I really don't care. I don't think anyone cares about Titus. Nakamura going to Raw to SmackDown. Nakamura has to stay on SmackDown. He's the Intercontinental Champion. With the OC staying on Raw and AJ Styles being the United States Champion, Nakamura would have to stay on SmackDown. But those are the first 3 picks are obvious, especially with the result of the Women's Championship tonight. Seth's going to stay on Raw, Universal Champion, obviously. Brock staying on SmackDown, and Charlotte going to Raw because she did lose to Bayley. Now, the biggest shock of the entire night is the fact that Bayley does not look like that anymore. The colors are gone, the happiness, the hugger. She destroyed the Bayley buddies tonight. She came out with short hair. The pigtail is finally gone. She takes an axe handle with what looked like a razor blade attached to it and just chops down the Bayley buddies, which have been a staple in Bayley's entrance since halfway through her Women's Championship reign. Or, like, I think it was when she first got and was doing her Women's Championship reign for NXT. But she chopped the entire Bayley buddies down and just came to the ring. Her and Charlotte had an okay match. A good match, because it is two of the four horsewomen. They're not going to give you a terrible match. And Bayley ends up winning, becoming a 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion, which means I think she is a 4-time overall on the main roster. She is a 2-time Raw, right? Right. But the show started off with Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. The winner of this match was going to give their brand the first pick of this new draft. Now, going into Monday Night Raw, they're going to do another one of these. For what reason, I don't know. It is going to be Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch, with Becky representing Raw. Sasha, of course, representing SmackDown because she's on SmackDown now. Greg Hamilton does the introductions. They had themselves a pretty interesting match, a pretty good match. Okay, both of these guys were definitely not cheered, not loved, and not hated. Like, Roman came out, he got a lot of cheers, but you did, if you listen, heard a lot of boos. Like, it was a mixed reaction for Roman. The first mixed reaction, I think, what I heard for Roman Reigns since he came back, and that we've heard on TV. I know when he showed up after the night after WrestleMania in New York, he got booed the hell out of. But Las Vegas was definitely half and half for Roman. Seth comes out, and the crowd goes crazy for the music. They scream, "Burn it down!" And then half the crowd decided, "Oh, this is Seth Rollins. He's awesome." And, "Oh, this is Seth Rollins. Fuck this guy for what happened on Sunday." They had themselves a good match. We do have the OC versus the New Day later in the show, which who really cares? Back and forth match between these two. Buckle bomb, a modified pedigree as Roman goes to the spear. If you watch their match, what was it, at Night of Champions in 2017, when, was it Money in the Bank? Yeah, Money in the Bank, when Seth Rollins won the WWE Championship from Roman Reigns. I'm pretty sure he won that by blocking a spear into a pedigree. He did that again here tonight. Got a 2 count. Reigns goes for a spear, but Rollins blocks it again. He's going for a stomp, and then the lights go out. Fiend comes up, pops up to the ring, gets him into the Mandible Claw, brings him down to inside the ring, drags him to the mat under the ring. The lights come back up, and suddenly we see Rollins scrambling to get back into the ring. Rollins lays face down in the ring, recovering as Wyatt peeks up from the hole in the ring. Lights go out and lights come back on as we see Wyatt standing on the ramp. Wyatt's laugh echoes around the arena as we go to commercial break, and I was at half the minds like, oh no, we're not doing this again, are we? Because if anybody remembers, for a stretch of time, for about 3-4 weeks, Vince McMahon had this rhetoric that there was going to be no wrestling during commercial breaks. And there were a couple times that they had matches stopped by having someone come out and interfere that it should have been a blatant DQ, but they just stopped the match. When the commercial came back, they restarted the match. That was not it. Seth Rollins won by disqualification. Now, I don't get why the hell... I can understand why they had the Fiend come out for the fact that they did not want this to have... They didn't want Seth to pin Roman. They didn't want either of these guys to lose this match. So, what's the better way to do it than have a DQ? And Roman Reigns has done nothing since Clash of Champions. So, what are we going to do? We're going to have the Fiend come out and attack Seth Rollins. My biggest gripe is Seth Rollins is clearly going to be staying on Raw. The Fiend is now on SmackDown. So, you put him in a match that had no business happening if you weren't going to give him the Universal Championship. And now he's going to SmackDown where he's not going to be vying for the WWE Championship at all, if ever. So, basically what you're telling me is from Clash of Champions to now, WWE has 100% wasted our fucking time. You wasted our time, you damaged the Fiend, you damaged Seth Rollins, and all just to get a match on the pay-per-view. Why? Why would you go and just do all this? You've ruined everything, and you just made The Fiend look inferior in the end. We get the first round of draft picks, and as I stated before, Becky Lynch is going to Raw. Roman Reigns is staying on Smackdown. We also announced that the OC will remain on Raw. Luke Gallows is the United States Champion, and let's see here. Yep. And The Fiend goes to Smackdown, and Drew McIntyre goes to Raw. I'm missing one here, ain't I? Yeah. Becky Lynch, Roman Reigns, then OC, then The Fiend, then Drew McIntyre. That is your first round picks. The reason they're doing it like that, you get 5 picks, 3 for Raw, 2 for SmackDown. They made the same excuse last time, and it's the same one this time. Raw has 3 hours, SmackDown has 2 hours, so they're compensating by giving Raw more superstars and SmackDown getting less superstars because they don't have as much time to fill as Monday Night Raw does. Now, the last time we came around and did this in 2016, SmackDown got the major short end of the stick. They had AJ Styles, who was still trying to be established in WWE as a major player, and you had Dean Ambrose at the time, who was a WWE champion. Dolph Ziggler and The Miz were your mid-card feud for the Intercontinental title after, of course, SummerSlam, which was where Dolph Ziggler had a WWE Championship match. And you had Becky Lynch running the SmackDown Women's Championship division until, of course, they gave the title to Alexa Bliss. But SmackDown didn't really have anybody. And SmackDown ended up being the better show overall. Because outside of that first month of Monday Night Raw went from being just bad to atrocious. Will it be the same this time? I highly doubt it. But with the wildcard rule finally coming to an end after this coming Monday, thank fucking God we don't have to see that anymore. Renee Young, Booker T, and Beth Phoenix and Samoa Joe were the Hall of Fame, was the panel for the draft, where they were your draft panel. They went over the first round picks. And then we had King Corbin versus Chad Gable. And since when does what Baron Corbin says become law? Because if you remember on the pay-per-view, Baron Corbin decreed that Chad Gable will be called Shorty Gable. And now they made a graphic for him. They have him announced as it. So he's Shorty Gable now. Not on here. He's Chad Gable. I don't give a shit. That is absolutely one of the most disrespectful names you could come up with. Look how short he is. He's gonna be Shorty Gable. It's such good shit. That's Vince McMahon's thinking right there. And he'll lose the ABL, and it's gonna be Shorty G in no time. WWE, of course, a couple months ago, trademarked the name Shorty G, and we're halfway there. I'm hoping, so hoping, this is the last time we see this match. Corbin has not been drafted yet because he's, I believe, on Monday's set. Yes, and Chad Gable was not drafted, and he is a free agent, so wherever he goes, hopefully Baron Corbin does not go. We do not need to see this match ever a fucking again. Corbin wins with the end of days, 1, 2, 3. If you've seen the other matches, you haven't missed anything. A lot of overlap between Fox on NFL on Fox, and SmackDown. You had, who was it? You had the top announcers. I think it was Dan Marino and some other guy talking about it. I'm just going to say it right now and get this all into one big group. They look like they didn't want any part of this. They're getting paid by Fox. Fox owns their souls. So they had no choice but to give us to go out there and do their best to promote SmackDown in the draft. It's just they didn't really give a shit about being on this show, and quite honestly, I do not blame them. Why would you want to take which isn't a, in quote unquote, a real sport, and try and treat it like a real sport? We get a second round, which is Randy Orton to Raw, Sasha Banks to SmackDown, Ricochet to Raw, Braun Strowman to SmackDown, and Bobby Lashley to Raw. So again, if you go down this list, it goes as follows: Randy Orton, Sasha Banks, Ricochet, Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. So for the first 2 rounds, whoever posted this list of superstars that are going to be in these draft pools spoiled what was going on in WWE. Like, are you kidding me? Back from break, we get the hype package for both the Tyson Fury, Braun Strowman match and the Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez match. Out comes the Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Heyman gives the grand introduction to Lesnar and starts talking about fear. What does Brock Lesnar fear? Reliving the October 2010 UFC heavyweight title loss to Cain Velasquez at UFC 121. He says how he goes on about how Cain Velasquez on that day beaten, victimized, and conquered Lesnar with an unheard of first round TKO. Pretty much saying that Brock Lesnar got his ass kicked in 2010 against Cain Velasquez. Heyman says Lesnar hasn't offered a single excuse for that night because he has no excuse. That is the type of fighter Cain truly is. Heyman brings up how Lesnar easily won the WWE title from Kofi last week, which got a lot of boos. Then out came Rey Mysterio and forced Lesnar to confront the ghost from his past. Heyman says Lesnar does not fear his fears. He embraces his fears because he conquers his fears. Lesnar will conquer his fear on October 31st at Crown Jewel. Lesnar will conquer Cain Velasquez. Heyman says this gets a mixed reaction, of course. He says this is not a prediction, it's a spoiler, and out comes Mysterio and Velasquez. Ray says Heyman must be forgotten some footage and shows us a video package of stills from UFC 121. He says Cain will beat Lesnar again, and then he speaks in Spanish. Ray says Cain commented how he would give Lesnar a matching scar on the other side of his face at Crown Jewel. Lesnar, clearly not happy about this, moves forward, but Heyman holds him back, and Rey Mysterio's music hits. Cain stares at Lesnar in the ring as Lesnar stares back. This is pretty much just Brock Lesnar getting his win back. He got his ass beat by Cain Velasquez in 2010, and this is the only way he'll probably be able to beat Cain Velasquez. Brock Lesnar fears Cain Velasquez in my book. Let's see here. New Day versus the OC. Somehow, some way, for some reason, Michael Cole earlier is like, for the first time and probably the last time ever, we'll see the OC versus the New Day. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Didn't we have the OC before they were called the OC versus the New Day about 2 months ago? And that was one of the first times Kofi Kingston got pinned? Really, Cole? Are you that stupid? New Day win as Kofi nails the Trouble in Paradise for a 1-2-3. My biggest gripe about this entire thing is Kofi Kingston got beat cleanly, 7 seconds last week, killed, lost the WWE Championship. Before this match, he did a Susan G. Komen thing in which Kofi Kingston is just sitting there, bouncing around, happy-go-lucky. Oh, I'm just happy to be here. No, man, you got beat by Brock Lesnar in 7 seconds. And you're not pissed, you're not depressed, you're not like... I know you promote the power of positivity, but there's nothing positive about getting beat in 7 seconds by Brock Lesnar. This is why Kofi Kingston's title reign had to end. The guy takes nothing seriously. He doesn't. The only thing he takes seriously is what he said. They take the power of positivity seriously. That's it. So him losing the championship was the right thing to do. I wish they would have did it with somebody else. But honestly, it was the right thing to do. They stand tall. Stephanie is back out. And here's where they changed it up a little bit. After the first 2 rounds were straight off of this list, we still had... No, the list has Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, but we only had Alexa Bliss, then Lacey Evans, so the list is still right, and then we go Kevin Owens, who wasn't on the list yet. He was down way past where this list ends for them. Then he said the Revival... Hold on. Lacey Evans, Kevin Owens. The Revival staying on SmackDown, and Natalya is going to Raw. So, the Viking Raiders hadn't been named yet, and that was... Then Kevin Owens was his name before the Street Profits, Lucha House Party, and Cesaro. We go to break, we come back, and we go to the final round of this episode. The fourth and final round was the Viking Raiders staying on Raw, so they're off of there. The Lucha House Party coming to SmackDown. Nikki Cross is staying on Raw, so I don't know why they didn't just go Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross so you could have another team, another thing. Heavy Machinery, which is supposed to be in next to Monday's pool, is staying on SmackDown, and the Street Profits are going to Raw. And Natalya, which I missed in there somewhere, I know she was on here somewhere, is going to stay on Raw. So Lacey Evans and Natalya's rivalry is finally over. Oh yeah, like Natalya's going to Raw. Lacey's going to go to SmackDown, so that's over with. We don't have to see those two face each other again, which is good. Now, with this list, again, we have Cesaro, Humberto Carrillo, Akira Tozawa, Sin Cara, Eric Young, EC3, Chad Gable, Heath Slater, Drew Gulak, and the B-Team, as well as Tamina. We will have more information on that as the night goes on, and we'll talk about that more on Unscripted this coming Sunday at noon Eastern Time. And then we have the SmackDown Live Women's Championship match, Bayley versus Charlotte Flair. As you see on the screen, it's still Bayley. I would have changed it to Charlotte if it was still her. So, let's see. Charlotte Flair is in the ring after her entrance. We see stills from her title win. Bayley is out next. She stops on the stage. Her music stops. Bayley isn't smiling. Takes her jacket off, which she's wearing new black and gold gear, which looks like she might be going back to NXT, but she's not. She picks up an axe handle blade with blades sticking out of it. She starts slaughtering the happy waving inflatable arm flaving two men, which they call Bayley buddies. She just starts hacking away on them. This is a complete change in personality. She is like just short hair. The hair doesn't go any further. I don't think it goes lower than her ears now. No more ponytail. Happy Bayley is gone. This is evil. Fuck off, Bayley, which is great. Flair is just watching from the ring like it's about time. She literally had that look on her face like it's about time you showed your true colors, Bayley. Bayley marches to the ring, the bell rings, and she immediately attacks Flair. Flair turns around and goes to the corner, Flair with a neck breaker in the corner, sending Bayley to the floor to regroup. Flair follows and launches Bayley into the barrier, then steps over the barrier and does a fucking moonsault. Stands on the fucking barrier and does a goddamn moonsault. Misses Bayley absolutely completely. The fact that Bayley had to sell anything, like Bayley grabs her jaw as if she actually got hit. But if you look on replay, she misses Bayley completely. Can somebody please talk to Charlotte and tell her to stop doing the goddamn moonsault? It's insulting. She can't do it right, and she's not good at it. Can we just have somebody say, "Hey, Charlotte, listen, you can't do the moonsault right." I would take Lacey Evans, Kairi Sane, not Kairi Sane, I'm sorry. Leo Rush does a better moonsault than Charlotte Flair. Of course, Io Shirai does a better moonsault than Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair has the worst fucking moonsault I have ever seen. So can somebody please talk to Charlotte and be like, "Listen, Charlotte, no more moonsault." This match just keeps on going. Bayley delivers a big flying elbow, but Flair kicks out after a belly to belly, which she also kicked out from. Bayley argues with the ref and gets hit in the face. Flair takes the advantage and distraction and nails a natural selection. Flair goes for the figure four instead of the pin, but Bayley, with both hands, grabs her by the hair, pulls her out, pulls her into a roll-up, and 1, 2, 3. Bayley is a two-time SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Flair sits up, can't believe it. Bayley takes the title and celebrates when the new theme music hits, which is not she's got new theme music too, by the way. Takes the title to ringside and continues the celebration. Brings a mic back in the ring, and while we're seeing replays, she says bitches. Like, we missed half of it because they were still showing replays, but she said bitches. Screw all of you. Throws the mic down, raises the title as her new music resumes, marches up the ramp with the title as SmackDown goes off the air. Bayley's transformation from beating down Becky Lynch with the chair a couple months ago is finally complete. She has finally gone to the dark side completely. No more Bayley buddies. No more smiling. No more ponytail. She is a cold-hearted bitch. And I fucking love it. I fucking love each and every part of this. This is the best thing I think WWE's had happen to them in a while. And hopefully they won't screw it up. Yes, Sasha Banks and Bayley are going to be on the same brand after Monday. It's just no doubt about it that they're going to be on the same brand after Monday. What's going to happen between Bayley and Sasha Banks after this? I don't have a clue. Both of them are heel. Both of them are going to be on the Smackdown brand. The biggest problem I'm going to say that's going to happen with this is the fact that Monday Night Raw is going to be dominated by Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch again and again and again and again. We saw Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch for 2+ years. I don't want to see it again. Yes, we got a break from it after WrestleMania, but still, I just don't. I don't want to see Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch anymore. They're both technically baby faces, but I'm sure that will change real fast as they're both going to be on Monday Night Raw. Becky, of course, is going to be the baby face with her fiance, husband, whatever. Seth Rollins also being a baby face. But I really don't want to see Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. I was only hoping that we could have, like, if Charlotte was going to keep the title, yes, we would have had Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks again, but we haven't seen that feud in 2.5 years. So I think we would have been fine with that. But now we know, just for Bayley winning tonight, that we're getting Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch at TLC, at the Royal Rumble, and probably at WrestleMania. God help us! Wrestling gods, please help us. Don't let this happen. I just can't deal with some Charlotte Flair. They have good matches, but we need a longer break than 8 months. I'm sorry, we need a longer break from that feud than 8 months. Well, I'll have my thoughts on the entire draft when we get to Monday Night Raw. Right now, I'd have to compile to see what the we still have a couple names, like Chad Gable's got to go somewhere, Tamina and like the B Team and Cesaro. Where's Cesaro going to go? All these names, like, there's a lot more going to be done on Monday Night Raw. There was only 4 rounds tonight. I expect like 6, maybe 8 rounds on Monday. But that is your SmackDown Live review for October 11th, 2019. Hit that subscribe button. Oh yeah, by the way, this show ended 3 minutes early. I don't know what's going on with that, but this show ended early, and I found that really weird. But again, hit that subscribe button, comment down below. Give me some comments, man. I want to hear what you have to say. If you open this thing up and you're like, man, this guy sucks, tell me, hey, you suck at this. Let me know in the comment section below. I'll take all the heat, man. But hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The Franz Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The Franz Club. And I'll see you guys Sunday for Unscripted. Until then, my name is The Franz, and I'll see you guys later.